Hello, beautiful people of YouTube. Welcome back. So this is part 2 of these videos that I'm doing with Daniel, my special guest, talking about all of these issues with dating culture and women, and he's mocking my hand gestures. Yeah.
It's okay to mock, guys.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay to mock.
Just being silly.
Yeah. We're good friends. It's fine. But yeah, so we are picking up part 2 right now. So make sure you stay tuned for that. So we kind of touched on this prior in the first video, but like in the culture of dating in this world that we're living in today, I think like a lot of women are so easily wrapped up in like the feminism movement, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I think like we need to define like what like a feminist is, because I think there's a lot of like unclear and like misconceptions about like what that is. So honestly, I'm just gonna take the definition from Beyonce's Flawless song, but I mean honestly, it is someone who just believes in the political, social, and economic equality of both sexes. So I know there's a lot of loud feminists out there that are like, we hate men, and like, so for people like me, like I do identify as a feminist, but I'm scared to say that, especially to a man, because they're like, oh no, she wants to kill me, like she hates me just because I'm a guy. But that's so not even close to the truth of it. But I think like women are caught up in this movement, which is great, but then like we are not allowing good men who still exist to, do nice things for us. What? I don't know why he did that.
Yeah, it's a male, now it's a female elephant.
Now we're genderifying our decor. But yeah, like I think the good guys, like you said earlier too, like the good men are getting like swept under the mat in like this bubble of like men are evil and men are bad, but it's like not all men, but women still have to be on like the defensive.
Yeah, I mean, not all women hate all men.
Exactly.
Not all men are out to like, score in like in like women's pants.
Yes. Very few, but they're out there.
So yeah, I don't know. I feel like, so I was at the women's march, like the big women's march that they've been having the last like 3 or 4 years, I think, when I was living in New York. And it was like really cool to like go to, and like I had my camera and I was like covering it and then just like marching down like with them and stuff. And like I totally like share like like equality and like, so you can say like equality for women, but it's not what the climate is. There's not like equal like pay or equal treatment of like women in the workforce, or just like in general, just like there's not equal like pay or treatment of like people of color like myself. And you can say like, equality, all of that, but you can't ignore that, okay, just because you believe it doesn't make the climate change at all. So like, when I was like at the march, I was just thinking like, man, like I just like want to like fight like with women and like for women, and like just same thing, like fight for like other minorities that have experienced like things similar to me, or even like more extreme things that I haven't at all experienced and hope to not experience. So it's, just because that you say like you're for something, doesn't ignore the fact that you have to have a conscious thought of like, but that's not how it is like right now, and how can I do something to help like that cause. I think if like everybody like takes up other people's like injustices and like causes, it would be a much better place. But people will like see from like afar and just be like, oh yeah, whatever, like I support that. But like, do they really like live it out, or do they have the thought of like, it's like a daily thing that people have to like deal with and think about and like struggle with. So I definitely like see it out there, like I saw like signs where it's like, men are trash. Some very creative signs that I cracked up at. But you know, I think again on social media and stuff too, it's just like, you know, someone has a bad experience with like a man, men are trash, blanket statement.
Yep.
And, you know, I disagree, but I also agree with you that you have a right to have like that wall up and like frustration, because, you know, there are like guys who just see like women as objects.
Yep.
When they're just like equal part human and have, you know, like knowledge, wisdom, feelings, just like, you know, I have. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. People can go to all extremes with it, and it doesn't. I don't think it just like does any good to embrace the like men versus women thing. But you know, I'm a guy, and I can never, you know, I guess like experience like what, you know, like you experience, and you know, there's things that I never have to think about or consider. I never have to think about walking to my car downtown by myself. Mainly because people will think that I'm the one who's gonna like rob them, and not them rob me or rape me, and they think I'm gonna. And so like it's funny because like, you know, women have that, but then like minorities have the whole like, oh, he's, you know, probably
the
gonna
sketchy
rape
guy.
me, or like I'm gonna move to this side of the street.
Yeah.
And so, but again, just strictly speaking, as like a man, like I don't have to worry about like my safety in like situations really ever.
And
like
see,
women,
as a woman, like that's all I think about constantly. I'm
and
like
your life
constantly
has to like revolve around that. Like, okay, I can't go like
I
work out at
literally
this place
can't,
because the sun's gonna go down, and I don't like the route that I have to take back to get back to my apartment.
You are constantly like inconvenienced to make sure like to keep yourself safe.
Yeah.
Like just a small thing. Like I walk to class and there's like one side of the street like I know I cannot walk on without like getting like verbally like harassed or something. So even though like that route is quicker for me or like easier or like, oh, the light changed, like whatever, I have to like go to the other side just to like ensure that like I'm going to be okay.
Yeah. And, you know, and it's like sad that that is a thing, but it's also recognizing the reality that that's what has to be done.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, like I could never like imagine like asking a friend like, hey, can you walk with me, you know, to my car, and then I'll drive you like to your car. Like just, you know, earlier this week I was, like I said, I was hanging out with Creative Babes like founders with friend Lindsay, who, you know, started the Creatively Speaking stuff. And so Alexis, the co-founder of Creative Babes, so we're in
sweetest human being ever. Love her. Love you, Alexis.
So we're in Tremont, and it's like, you know, whatever, 10:30, right? And so like Lindsay and I like carpooled there, and so we're like walking the complete opposite direction. And then I asked if Lex is going, you know, where is she parked? So she's like, oh, I'm over here, and we're complete opposite. Knowing that she's a woman, it's dark out, and we're in like Tremont. I was like, all right, well, we'll just walk you to your car. I don't want you to like walk to your car alone. Right. That's why I wanted to carpool with Lindsay. Yeah. Because I didn't want her to walk to her car alone. So we walked her to her car, and then she dropped us off at our car. And it's just like one of those things. If I was just like by myself, or like it was just I wasn't carpooling with anyone, I said, yeah, I'm gonna just walk. Like I don't look like I have money to like rob. You know.
I'm not worth it.
Right? Yeah. I'm not going to get like, you know, kidnapped or, you know, put into like some sort of like sex trafficking ring. You know, I'm not like a hot item right now. Right? So I'm not what they're looking for. I just walk, you know, and then if I cross, you know, other people who happen to be of the Caucasian persuasion, you know, they'll think that I'm the person that's like, you know, the one who should be like, you know, watched out for.
It's such a cycle.
But yeah, I mean,
but see, like there again, like you were just like an advocate though. See, and like that's the thing about like men, like if you can just like, you don't have to fully understand because you're never gonna be able to.
You'll never understand.
You'll never understand, but you could be like an advocate and like recognize like, oh shoot, it's nighttime. She has to walk by herself. Let me step in and like help her and like walk her.
And
like,
and let's say no one else, say I'm like in a group of friends, right? Guys, girls. And this happened before in the past. I can't remember like a specific time, but I know it's happened like with me. So like we're all like going our own ways, right? Like, and say like one girl is like walking by herself, and I'm thinking like, well, maybe I should like walk with her like to her car, and then I offer, and it's like, no, I'm okay. And I'm like, are you? And he's like, yeah, I'm cool. Like, don't worry about it. I don't need you to like walk me my car. And I'm like, okay, I'm just like want to make sure like you're safe. I'm not trying to like do anything.
Be weird,
like,
yeah.
You know, if I woke up the next morning and like saw on the news that something happened to you, I would have felt guilty because I should have made sure that things were, you know, okay. But, you know, people kind of like declining the offer just because I don't know if it's like, if they're afraid because they think that you like them, and that's like a way for you to maybe say like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and so like this is getting into the topic though of like women not being able to properly judge or read like chivalrous acts. Like that is like just being like a decent human being, like a kind person. And I think the problem is because of all of those D-bag guys that are out there, we as women, like as soon as a guy is nice to us or like is a gentleman towards us, we're like, what does he want? Because we're so like we're not used to that. So because we're not used to that, we're like, he wants something. And like
there's like an underlying thing
motive.
That he's like trying to get.
Exactly. And so it's like we as women like can't even accept like kind gestures from men because we're so what's the word? We're so like speculative like on it. We're so like, oh, he has other motives. So then I think like it does put us in a bad spot. And like too, like we don't like to inconvenience people. Like I know me, like I don't want to inconvenience like anyone else. So if you're like, oh, well, like I'm parked over here, but I'll walk you this way. It's like, well, no, like I don't want you to like have to go out of your way on like my behalf.
Yeah.
You know, and then that goes back to like the feminist thing where I'm like, no, I'm a woman. I got it. On the inside, I'm like, crap, I'm going to get like robbed or something. But like, you don't express that to someone.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's like very weird like thing because you can't like knock somebody for, you know, feeling that way because, you know, they've had experiences where it's totally, you can't argue it. But also I can't argue the fact that like, I want to make sure, I mean, just going back to making sure people get home safe. Right.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I've never had this and I never want to, but like the thought of like, I could have done something to, and like something happened to somebody that like, you know, I consider like a friend. And I don't know, I just, it's a weird time, right?
It is.
It's a
hard.
Weird thing to like navigate. And I don't know, I think with like men just like being like nice to women and it's a shock to think that, oh, just because like a guy's nice, he's got to have like some sort of like, you know, feelings for me. Well, what's wrong with just being nice to people, right? Isn't that like what you're supposed to do? But then like it's just shock because like I'm thinking like, wow, are like men really like not nice to women or like only nice to women if they're trying to like get something and then if they find out that they're not gonna like, get what they're like going for, then they like shut it off and they're like cold to women.
And we've been burned by that before. So then that's why we're like keeping at a distance. Like, no, that's okay. Like, you don't have to do that for me. Or like, you know, like, that's why it's like hard for us to believe if a guy's like actually like genuinely just trying to be like nice. Yeah.
And I've talked to a couple friends within like the last month who have had like the stories of, you know, guys being like nice to them, having the undefined like hangout times, then they're in like a very awkward situation to where the guy just like puts it out there and like that he has feelings for them. And this is already after they've like spent some time together and like he thought it was like a date, but the girl in the situation did
not think it was a date
and thought it was just like
communication,
very like casual and stuff. But then once she like, I guess like rebuffed their advances, they were really like cold to her. And it's like, wow, this is like two different people that I'm like seeing like the pre version of like the guy when he was like trying to, you know, start something like with me. And then once I reject him because for some reason men are afraid of rejection, is a completely different guy and he's just completely like almost like going out of his way to not be nice.
Yes.
Where he's just, and it's coming off like very cold and
Yes.
rude and like, okay, you don't care about me anymore. I thought we
Yeah.
were like friends, but I guess we were never friends if that's the case. So yeah.
Daniel's taking me to church, y'all. He's taking me to church.
Where's the fan?
Yeah,
You make a fan out of something?
literally. Because I mean, but that's like it's like the turn down culture is like what I'll call it. It's because women anymore. It's also like we're not afraid like for our like physical safety or anything, but like just like mentally, like we are afraid to say like no or like to reject someone because of how they react. It's like guys can't take that.
Yeah.
And it's like they're so like a totally different person, like you said, like Jekyll and Hyde. It's like, who is this? Like, you're being very rude, you're being very like brash towards me, like very cold, just because like you didn't get what you want. It's like you're throwing a temper tantrum, like a 2-year-old.
Like childish, yeah.
Yeah, very childish, very immature. Like they can't just accept it like for what it is. And so like women, like we do stand up for ourselves and we do say no, but then like we are then left to deal with even more repercussions that like we didn't even ask for. Like I didn't ask for this. Like I don't know, be a man and handle yourself. I don't know.
Well, I think so. The whole like rejection thing, I think, can also like come to just like self-confidence. You know, there are some guys who have more self-confidence than what they probably should have, so then they're like really going after like anybody with like legs and a heartbeat.
Amen.
But then, and those are the guys who really like go for it, right? So they're like, you know, hey,
because they think they're not going to get turned down.
Yeah, because maybe they've had like some sort of like success in like the ratio of them getting turned down to people accepting their, you know, whatever. But for the guys who are afraid to get rejected, so then they do the whole like, hey, let's hang out and not like define date stuff. It's just like, I think comes down to like self-confidence, because if you are confident in like who you are as a person and who you'll be after you get rejected, which should be the same person that you are before you get rejected, then it's like no big deal. It's just like, you know, hey, I'm going to be okay. You know, don't go into panic mode because I thought this girl had feelings for me and I thought maybe we would like go out, and then who knows, 5 years from now we're at the altar, 10 years from now we're raising like twins or something. But I think it's like you're almost like diving into the future of like what could be, and then when you get rejected, it's kind of like comes crashing down. And then you think like, oh, okay, well, what is it about me that she doesn't like? Well, screw her. You know, she doesn't like
I don't need her.
And it's like, oh, whatever. And then it's like, oh, hey, she's kind of pretty. Like, I've seen her around.
You bounce back.
Bounce back hard in that. But it's all just like comes from, I think, a place of insecurity and not like having like a true identity. But also that comes with like age. Because I know you're, you know, a junior in college, and a lot of like the boys in college,
and we are still calling them boys.
Still finding themselves, and that's not that's a totally normal process. It's not like bashing them for being like that.
I'm finding myself like when we do it too. Like,
scientifically, men's brains still develop long after women's brains have completed like the development process. So it takes longer for men to kind of like get it and catch up. But, you know, some just don't ever catch up.
Some don't ever.
I don't know.
But it's just like being respectful. Like, no one has their crap together. I don't expect everyone to have their crap together. It's just like being respectful. If you are rejected, if a woman tells you no, just be like, okay, like, thank you for being honest with me. Like, you know, so both move on from there.
So here's another thing about like respect. So like people like
I'm going to start singing the song.
Oh, Aretha.
Yeah, come on, Aretha.
So people also like to say like, oh yeah, I would never treat you know, a woman like this. I have like a mother, I have a sister, I have like a niece. Like you shouldn't have, like, just because you have like women in your life doesn't qualify for you to be respectful. Even if you don't have women in your life, like if you don't have a sister or a niece or like, you know, a woman that you care about like in your life that doesn't, you should just be the same way. Like a lot of be like, I would never want my sister like go through that, so I'm not gonna. Okay, so if you didn't have a sister, would that mean that you would do that? No, it's not like a qualifier. It should just be like, it is what it is all the time. like no matter what, just because you kind of are like have women in your family that you respect.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I mean, that's okay for you to like not want your sister to like do that, but let's say you only had brothers.
Would you act differently?
Would you act differently? And like obviously, there's like no way to find out.
Yeah.
You know? But a lot of men will use that like term, like, no, I have a sister, girl. I know how to do it. And like, it's like, okay, well, I'm glad that you have a sister.
But if you didn't,
then like, what about the men who? Then you're saying like men who don't have like sisters or
are given a pass to act.
Yeah,
like
or
a
like
jerk.
they're like, oh, they just don't know, right? Like, okay, they don't have that perspective, but it's like, how hard is it to have that perspective, though? I mean,
yeah,
you know,
be a decent
at
human.
some point in time, like a man has felt a way where they weren't valued.
Mm-hmm.
Not exactly the way that women like feel, but you felt at some point in time in your life you weren't like valued.
Mm-hmm.
So just like if you can remember what that felt like, so maybe kind of help people to not feel that way too.
Yeah.
And like the way that you treat them, whether it's like men or women, and then it just like falls evenly across the board between men and women, like how you like treat them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the golden rule, like communication and the golden rule.
Yes.
Like, it's not that hard, but people like make it hard because when they get like the hormones going and they like start like are like attracted to like somebody, then it's like they stop thinking. Right?
Yes. Yeah. Stop thinking correctly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because the blood's not rushing to their brain anymore; it's going south. And
my mama says that too.
They're not thinking, so
yeah.
I don't know.
No, you're right.
Just take a moment.
Just take a moment,
step back, and
think about what you're doing, saying, acting, please.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh. All right, y'all. So that is it for us today. Me and Daniel really enjoyed discussing this topic. Please be sure, if you have not already, to subscribe to my channel below, right below this video. And also leave anything and everything in the comments. I really, really want to hear from you guys on this. Daniel is, again, mocking my hand motions. Ignore him. But yeah, I want to hear from you guys, especially on this topic. Women, men, you know, like, share everything, because we just want to hear your stories, your opinions. If you want us to do another video, we're down. We'll talk about it, whatever you want. And yeah, be sure to follow me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, popping up on your screen right now. And yeah, so with that being said, I will see you guys back next week. Thank you for watching.